on Entrepreneurial Talk Series 2.0. ACIC ISM Foundation, a non-for-profit company established by IIT ISM Dhanbad. We are a part of Atal Innovation Mission, that is AIM, of Niti Aayog, Government of India, entrusted to promote entrepreneurship, especially for stakeholders from the bottom of the pyramid. Our objective is to create opportunities for the enterprises operating in social sector domain who lack the required resources and skills. We offer services and facilities for social entrepreneurs to create their own startup. So now the wait is over. I'm very delighted to ask Ms. Camelia Chaudhary to introduce the speaker of today's session, none other than Mr. Sanjeet Kumar Behra. Audience, I request all the members in the audience to drop their questions in the chat box on Zoom and YouTube, and also to have the best webinar experience, kindly mute yourself. Now over to you, Camelia. Good afternoon, everyone. So I would like
Your mic is on off.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to take this moment to introduce our today's guest, the Director of Practical Action Foundation, which is the Indian entity of global charity called Practical Action, headquartered in United Kingdom, which is he's also the member of CSR Council, Government of Orissa, an honorary position in the council that is chaired by the Chief Secretary of the state, formed to guide, monitor, and approve CSR spent in the state. Also a trustee of Kalinga Kusum Foundation, an Indian charity co-founded with Honorable Member of Parliament Sri Sujit Kumar. Recently, he has taken another responsibility as National Advisor for Business Development of Fortune 500 brand in India. He has also experienced working at grassroots with consulting firms, United Nations, state governments, corporates, international agencies at different capacities. In his 2 decades of work tenure, he has demonstrated social models of sustainability, technology innovation as a solution to critical issues, and has helped establish the same in other countries as well. As an expert in the field of livelihood, DRR, renewable energy, market development, CSR, leadership development, and sustainability. So I welcome Mr. Sanjeet Kumar Behra to speak. Over to you, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, sorry. I got some problem at my side, I think. Now I'm audible?
Hello, sir. Are we audible to you?
Yeah, you are all audible to me.
Hello, Mr. Behra.
Hello, sir. You are not audible to us.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay.
Over to you, sir.
Okay. So sorry for the technical problem. Hello everyone, I am Sanjeet Kumar Behra, and before I really introduce myself, let me thank
Sir, Mr. Behra, over to you. Sir, can you hear us? Sir, we can't
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me now? Okay.
Okay, now it
Can
is,
you all hear me now?
yeah, now you're audible, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. I think, yeah. Okay, so myself Sanjit Kumar Behra, and thank everyone who have invited me and who are attending the session. So let me start with my background. I hail from a very humble family background. I did my schooling from Navodaya Vidyalaya and then engineering from OUAT. I was for a year I was in Revensa as well. And during my college period, during school time, I was selected as best boy and represented the school. I mean, among 300 children across country to receive the Prime Minister Award in class 9th. And I stood topper in the school, fourth topper in Odisha and Madhya Pradesh zone of Navodaya Vidyalaya. That was what my school life was. Why I'm telling this might help some people to relate. And I expect some of you to really draw something from today's talk and take it forward to bring a positive change in your career, could be in the enterprising life. Currently, I am the director for the Practical Action Foundation India. It's the charity wing of Practical Action Global, which started in 1966 in UK. I am also the director for the Practical Action Consulting India, which is 99% subsidiary of Practical Action UK. I am also the trustee of Kalinga Kushum Foundation, a foundation that is formed in 2011 by myself and one of my friend who is now the member of Parliament Rajya Sabha from Odisha. I am also a member of the CSR Council, Government of Odisha. It's a council formed by the government. There are 6-7 councils in the country formed by the state government. The council looking after the CSR spent in the state, headed by the chief secretary. There are 10 secretaries and 10 head of the corporates in the state. And I represent the non-profit sector in the CSR council. Currently, I am taking one more assignment as advisor for the Philips 66. It's a Fortune 500 company. It's a lubricant brand and 130-year-old brand from US. I am the advisor for business development for this brand in India. I do support some of the startups here in Odisha and across the country. And I am also the lead expert in the Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana by the Member of Parliament Rajya Sabha Shri Sujit Kumar. It's a Government of India program wherein the Member of Parliament can adopt a village as Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, and many programs can be dovetailed for the overall development of the Gram Panchayats. My experience as an entrepreneur started when I was in college days. I was reading, but a connection from my friend came and I decided to took off the medicine wholesale business. I did it with one of my friend. We performed well, but somehow because of maybe the challenges of education, communication in those days, I had to quit at a point. But entrepreneurship is like a bug. ये पीछा नहीं छोड़ेगा. So after joining job, I worked for almost 6-7 years and then I resigned my job, and with one of my good friend who returned from US, we started a company, software company, i4 Infotech. I became the CEO. In 2008, I remember we competed among 18,000 companies across the globe to be shortlisted as one company among 100 for the World Bank Marketplace Award 2008. It was a concept mix of development and software. So that was what the mix of my experience and experience of my good friend who had worked in US for software development.
Yes, sir. The video is, we cannot see your video, sir.
Oh,
Like,
is it clear now?
Yeah, sir, but little bit there's problem. Okay, sir, it's clear.
It's clear, right? Okay. So am I clear now?
Yeah, now it's okay, sir.
Okay. I think everything seems to be okay, but don't know why it's getting disconnected. Okay, so far I think my voice was clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now let's come down to the core topic. Entrepreneurship as a career for the beginners. Let's try to answer why. My first answer, why someone should go for a career with entrepreneurship. My immediate answer will be, there is no job. There is no good jobs. And yeah, someone from you can challenge it, no worries, but that's one of the biggest reason. Yes, some people should really choose the other way for a better career. The other that I have experienced, I have seen, is underemployment. Some of my friends have really done good in their job as a career. They have grown up to a very top level, but at some point of time in their life, they have realized that they need to go back, they need to take care of their parents, or they need to come back to their friends, old friends. They are not enjoying life, and they are coming back, quitting the job and starting a new career, right? In that case, the underemployment is the biggest issue. Then why not to start something, learning from these people since inception as a career? That's a point. The third point could be, yes, I dare to start my own. I believe in myself. That's another point. Why should one go for entrepreneurship as a career? Many people don't dare. They believe in job. They get into job, which is easier for them. So I don't believe in that. I dare to do my own. That's one of the reason I can start my own enterprise. And why should I go for a business of my own? Because I am someone who can really convert the ideas Is it okay now again? Camelia? Am I audible?
Sir, your voice is not very clear. There is an echo we can hear, sir.
It got disconnected for a couple of seconds. I don't know why it's happening.
And sir, your video also it's stopping in few seconds.
Just a minute. Let me change the network. Give me 30 seconds, please.
Yes, sir, you're audible. Not very
give me 30 seconds. Let me change the internet. That might be a problem. Just give me 30 seconds, please. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, it's now perfect.
It's clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Or might be the other network was having some problem. Okay, I don't think it would be repeated. Thank you, presence. So I think my voice was clear. Why one should think of entrepreneurship as a career. That was what I was discussing. Let me repeat some of the points. Yeah, the first was no job or no good jobs. The second was underemployment, and the third that I dare to do it. I dare to do something new, something different than many others. And the rest, next point is I am someone who can convert my ideas, who can adapt the technology, who can innovate. And I believe that I can, come up with some new product and services that is not available today. That's another point why I believe that I should go for entrepreneurship. And the next point is I'm self-motivated. I have my own food to motivate myself, right? And the next point could be I fear to stay poor. I have seen people around me, so I fear. That's a factor. Fear is a factor that is keeping me motivated to do something new, do something great. And today India seems to be the startup hub for the globe. So why not to take the opportunity and be an entrepreneur, right? And challenges of some people are opportunities for some others, right? So India has got a huge population today. That's one of the big challenge. And why not to take this challenge as an opportunity and do business around it? Why not to come up with some solution that we can, take the benefit of, huge population in the country like India and can, do business well as a career. Now let's discuss about some of the traits, you can say the characteristics or attributes of an individual to do business or to pursue entrepreneurship as a career. The first point that comes to my mind is perception, right? How you perceive. See, it all varies from person to person. So this could be the starting point for someone to think of entrepreneurship as a career. It should be different, it should be innovative, it should be challenging. That should be the perception of someone if he or she is thinking of pursuing entrepreneurship as a career. Let me cite one example from my career. When I joined as a project engineer in 2000, there were 5 teams in the state given the same responsibility. In each team there was an engineer, and I was one of the engineer in one of the team. If I am not wrong, then I was given around 1200 lift irrigation points after the super cyclone 1999 in Odisha for estimation. If some of you have knowledge of what is called a lift irrigation point, then good. Otherwise, for others, let me just brief you. Lift irrigation point is a set of mostly nearby the rivers to lift the water for irrigation purpose. So it has got a component of lifting of the water, that the machine, and then the channels to carry the water to the fields. So I was given the responsibility of, assess the damage and then prepare the estimate. Prior to that, one of the tasks was to meet the villagers, form the water user association. That was a new thing for the country those days, and to motivate them to own the lift irrigation points, which was earlier owned by the government. So when all the team started working on the same job, and we, after a month, we came for the review. Some of the team have achieved hardly 5-7 estimates. So also I could do only 5 to 7 estimates. And then when I went back after the 5th review, I was really ashamed. I was not happy with my achievements, with my progress. So I started, thinking differently. How can I, do more? And that thought provoked me to do things differently. I took support of some of the, youth, trained them in engineering, things, and then I started taking them to field. Did the estimation work along with them, and then I came up with result like 30-40 estimations in a month. So this is how someone can perceive differently and take the risk and do things differently for a better result. The next trait could be the intuition. Intuition is something which comes from the thoughts and senses, and thoughts and senses are always driven by your prior knowledge, your experience, your association, the books you are reading, and sometimes believing your guru, the mentor. So intuition comes to mind. It comes to mind with some pre-calculations, right? That something is very key. Sometimes intuition can be through God believing, right? So intuition is a characteristic that an entrepreneur should have, right? For this, I should cite one example. When I was in my final year in engineering, I decided that I should not be into politics, and I kept myself away from elections and all. But somehow one of my junior came and then instigated me that you have all the abilities, you can do the best job as a president, but you are sleeping idle, you are leaving it to others, so you don't care. And that's the time I something clicked in my mind. This guy is talking sense. So that's the point. That's the point. I believe my intuition came. Yes, he's talking sense. He's talking right. I should, chip in, and I should really go for the presidency. That's the point I decided. And yes, after a couple of months, with all the challenges, I became the president in the college. So that's a characteristics one should have to become a different guy, to become an entrepreneur. The next trait is passion. Passion is emotion. Passion is a powerful emotion, and emotion, you cannot be without it. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, then you should have emotions. You should have powerful emotions. Some small challenges should not be able to wash out your emotions. Then only you can be, a good or successful entrepreneur. If you ask me, my passion is, helping others. This is since my childhood. I enjoy helping people, and thank God, so far my career is built in a way that I have been helping people. I am earning by helping people. That's what my career is. So that's my passion. There were days when I was offered some other kind of assignments where I was not really helping people, but after some time I realized that no, this is not what I should be doing. I was dealing in crores those days, but when I was sleeping in the night, I realized no, I'm not enjoying this job. So maybe 3-4 years down the line, I had to quit and opted my passion of helping people and earning from helping people. And yes, that is what one of the biggest trait of an entrepreneur. Only when you can help people through your products and services, then only you can earn good. Okay. Maybe questions, Camelia, I think I can take at the end.
Yes, sir. Questions at the end, sir.
Okay.
You just continue. We will ask the questions at the end.
So you can hint me before 5 minutes so that I can conclude well. Okay. Okay. The next trait one should have is the solution driven, solution oriented. You should always think of the solution for whatever the issue comes. You should not be, in the problem. Come up with the solution immediately. Look forward. Don't just be in the problem. Try to get the solution. Look forward, and learn from the past and go ahead. That is called solution oriented. You should be solution oriented. One of the biggest example from my career is I was leading a team in districts. Project management was my role, and there were 4 or 5 project officers. We were supporting the government in generating livelihood for the people. In one of the village, though there was fund to be spent, but there was no scope of work. There was no feasibility of work. So in rest of the villages, say around 200 villages, there was work, people were doing it, were earning. But in one village, though there was fund for the village to be spent, but no work. There is no scope of work. So people are very angry. They threatened the officer. They did whatever they could to object, sir, do something. Then I was invited. I went to the village, had the village meeting. They all told, sir, we don't know. We need work, we need food, we need money. Please do something. Then I asked what can be done. They took me to one of the river flowing in their village. They told, sir, you do something in this river and we'll work here and we want food for what? The river was so big and the fund was so less that no one can really plan with that fund to do some construction work so that people can be engaged and can get money. That was what the problem with the officer, and that was also the problem with me. But I decided that I should think of something and I should come up with some solution for this village, because they are desperate to do work, they are desperate to earn, because those were the days there was a scarcity of food. I'm talking about 2001-2, when there was drought in that area, and we from UNDP were supporting the government with food for work program. I then promised in the village that give me 2 days, I will be coming with a solution. I came back, I instructed my civil engineers, there are 4 civil engineers. I know there should be some solution, some technology to come off with an intervention in that village with that budget. You people don't go to site, bring all your books, just read for 8 hours in a day and come up with a solution. I want to do something. Those are not the days of Google, nahi to search kar lete. So all of them started searching their civil books. One of the engineer came up with just 4 or 5 lines. Sir, there is a solution called LBS, loose boulder structures. It's practiced in Yamuna River. The height of the bond could be 1 meter and the slope can be 20 meters, 1:20. Just 4-line solution, and that changed the dynamics of intervention in those areas. We did it. We were highly appreciated by the administration, and this was replicated hugely in the area those days. So that's called solution orientation, that we should think of solution rather than just getting into the problems. The next point could be the absolute clarity of the purpose. What I want in my life. Do I want the money only? Do I want money and fame? Do I want both? Or I want just to be an influencer? So let's get this clarity. What I want in my life. Accordingly, you can really choose your path, right? So that's a very tricky thing. You need to really ask yourself during silent hours and study your mind, who you are, what you want really from life. That is very, very, very big factor to choose a career, not only for enterprise, but what in enterprise, what should I do being an entrepreneur. So this will give you the clarity. So let's draw the absolute clarity of purpose in life. Take help of your mentors, your guru, take help of your parents, your friends, and get the clarity. The next point is believe in self. Self-belief. This is a very big factor. You must have listened in many movies, songs, must have read in books that he believed and he did it, right? That is really one of the key factor for a person to do something different. And entrepreneurs are thought to be different, right? That's the reason you have to have the belief on yourself. During 2013-14, I think, when I started as an engineer with Practical Action, where I am director today, I was given a project to demonstrate in Odisha, wind and solar hybrid system for rural electrification. That's the first ever project in the state where wind energy and solar energy was taken together for village electrification. And the technology was supported from our regional office, Kathmandu. And we were having the expertise in Kathmandu office only. I went to Kathmandu, I got trained, then came back to do it in Odisha. And the expert from Kathmandu also came down. We worked together. In one of the villages, there was no road. It's on the top of the hills. For this wind and solar hybrid system, one village was on the top of the hills and people till date are walking to their village. There is no road. Even today, there is no road. But some of the components of our system were to be carried by tractors only. It cannot be carried by head loads. So I checked with my then boss. We need to build a road. Then she asked, "Do you have fund in the project to do that?" Then I told no. And it was mid of the project period. Either I have to do it or I have to stop it. There is no third chance. Either I have to do it or I have to close the project. And it was supported by one of the German agency. So Practical Action, an organization of high repute, if closing a project will be like, putting a bad name to the organization. I, with one of my colleague, sat together in one evening and decided, no, we'll do it. My colleague asked me how. Then I told, let's do it. And we went to the village. We discussed with the villagers and we came off with a solution which took 15 days, but we did a temporary road to the village and we carried the structures and we did the work. So that's, I would say, the belief, yes, we'll do it. Even if your colleagues, your boss, your friends are denying, but you should believe that, yes, I should do it. I can do it. So believe in yourself. The next trait is being an open-minded person. You should be really open to do something new, to do something great. Okay. So to be open-minded, you have to listen to others regularly. You have to read on daily basis, and you have to be, friendly in asking your experts. You cannot, even with ages and experiences or certificates, you should not think I am the final expert. You should be ready to ask others to learn. That is called open-mindedness. I would give the example of my boss in UNDP, Saroj Jha, an IAS officer who was deputed to UN. He used to come down to our field every weekend for review. In one of the review, we were around officers, 10-15 officers and some of the support staffs. He asked the question for a problem to be solved in the field area, and we all sat silent. One of the support staff stood up and answered, "Sir, we need this as a solution." I tell you, we all the officers laughed. We laughed because the solution proposed by the support staff was so silly. That's the reason we laughed, because we are all experienced. Some of the people were like 4-5 year experience. I was 1-2 year experience. So we all laughed at the answer, proposed by the support staff. But I remember the then boss Saroj Jha told, no, you people, sit down. He again asked, tell me the solution. And For your information, the solution proposed by the support staff that day became an activity in our project, and later the government of Odisha took that as a model for the all gram panchayats, providing a support staff to all the gram panchayats. So that is called the example of being an open-minded person. So one has to be open-minded to do something new, to do something different. The next biggest trait for a successful entrepreneur is his or her network. Networking is a skill. Networking is a practice. I can define what is network with example. 1 page versus 100 pages. This is the power of network. People having network can solve a problem with 1 page of write-up, whereas people without proper network may or may not solve that same issue with 100 pages of explanation and writings. This I have experienced in my life in several periods. That's the power of network. One call versus network can solve an issue with a single phone call, which cannot or may not be solved with 10 staffs acting on it for say 100 days. That's the power of network. So you need to build your network, you need to identify your network, and that will help you in shaping of your enterprise, your entrepreneurship career. Yes, today I'm talking to you all, and this could only be possible because of the network that I had in 2014 during my IIT Roorkee training period. Someone known to me is known to Camellia, and I am talking to you today. So that's the power of network. You all have to really be serious in maintaining the network, building the network, grooming the network. And last couple of points is hard work. There is no alternative. There is no alternative to hard work. इसका कोई दूसरा नाम नहीं है. You have to really work hard to be a successful entrepreneur. I remember my days in the fields. I used to be responsible for 31 villages, and my boss told one day that DFID team from UK is coming. They might they might visit any village out of 31. I remember I used to start at 5, travel all the 31 villages by bike, visit the sites, interact with people, and ensure that whenever the visitors come from UK are comfortable if they visit any of the villages. I can't think of this now. Visiting 31 villages in a day, meeting people, visiting the sites, I can't think of today. But yes, I have done that. That's called hard work, and that will pay you off. Because I have done in my career, I'm able to talk to you with confidence. And I'm not talking to you for the first time in this meeting today. This is one of the examples I used to give in all the relevant places, that there is no alternative to hard work. You have to do it. And the last but one point is review and self-learning. Some of you must have read that who is literate, who is called a literate today. The literate person today is someone who can unlearn, learn, and relearn. If someone who has learned something and when situation permits cannot unlearn that and relearn something to be fitting to the present state, he is called illiterate. So we need to review ourselves, and if required, we should unlearn things, relearn new things, and learn every day. I will give the example of my good friend. I was talking about Sri Sujit Kumar, member of Parliament Rajya Sabha. He is also an engineer. He did his masters from Oxford, MBA from Oxford, and he did his Master of Public Administration from Harvard. And he is today member of Parliament, but he is reading books every day, even today. That's the attitude a successful person should have. Similarly, I was talking about Mr. Saroj Jha, IS officer. Now he is director World Bank. In our UNDP days, our office used to open at 9:30, but he used to come to office at 9. So the security guard, after 2-3 days, told, sir, you are coming at 9, so I should be coming at 9 then and open the door. Then Saroj sir told, no, your duty starts from 9:30, my duty starts from 9. So he used to open the door and get into the office. From 9 to 9:30, he used to read every day. So this is what called learning in building a good career. And the other point is take complete responsibility. No excuse, no blame game. My father told, so I started this business. I failed. No, this is not the attitude. You have to take complete responsibility. And the last point from my side, how can you do good at your enterprising life? You can start an enterprise new, afresh. That's good. You can also duplicate. That is also a scope. You can duplicate an existing enterprise. Nobody denies you, but do it differently, right? You can replicate. Someone has already done it. Study it. Go through, assess, see the potential, and replicate in rest of the places. Nobody is denying that. Not necessarily that you will always go for a new thing, right? You can revive an enterprise and do better, right? You can expand an enterprise and make it bigger. And as you know, these days, merger, acquisition, joint ventures, these are some of the things one can do rather than doing something new, something small, something startup. One can also go for merger, acquisition, and joint venture to start as an entrepreneur. So these are some of the lines one can opt to build a career in entrepreneurship. That's all from my side. I'm open to questions. One can do rather than doing something new, something small.
Thank you so much, sir. Your story was very, very much inspirational, especially for those who are planning to start up their entrepreneur as an entrepreneur. Sir, we have some questions in the comment box. Sir, have your priorities changed from where you first started your own company to till date?
Yeah, priorities will shift. So that is very common thing. You need to really, as I told, you need to unlearn something and relearn and try to befit yourself to the new opportunities and challenges coming across your life. So in 2009, our IT company collapsed when Satyam collapsed because of the global scenario. So that was the point we had to change. So we had to really shift our priorities.
So one more question is there. How has being an entrepreneur affected by the family life? And in this, if they fail to manage, should they regret about the decision to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, see, that's a balance one has to draw, whether you are in an enterprising life or in a job. If you want to really perform good, even in a job, you have to really convince your family. You have to take your family with you. you have to share, you have to, take them into confidence and go with them. You cannot really, make them aside in the name of, a successful career. Could be a job or could be an entrepreneurship. You have to really strike a balance between family and your career. Could be job or entrepreneurship.
Okay, sir. Sir, next question is for any startup, since for budding entrepreneur, there is very little knowledge of market sizing, scoping, and understanding value chains. Please guide to overcome these issues.
I would suggest in such cases, you spend time to learn fast, right? And if you have already started something, and then you felt the need of analysis and all, you prioritize your activities and budget, bring in experts. If you are not expert by self, bring in experts, engage them in the assessment and learn from them, and then replan your activities for the development of your enterprise. We need to really spend time on learning, as I mentioned already, and this is part of the business learning. If you are not confident, you have to take support of the expert team and do it.
So one more question, whether an entrepreneur should willingly accept that they have to change according to the current scenario? Should they change according to the current scenario, the entrepreneurs?
See, during the discussion, I have discussed some of the things, like, let's say, innovation, let's say your what you need, money, you need to influence, you need money and fame. So the answer to this question is not straight. It depends on many other parameters. The person who has asked should really ask what he needs. Does he really need to change? Will the change bring the desired goal that will fit to his traits, to his passion in life? Not necessarily for the sake of the for the need of the hour he has to change. He may stick to what he is doing and may fail again, and then prove that what others are saying is a failure is not the failure, rather that was a process and he succeeded, right? Not necessarily by listening to people from aside he will change his course. Not necessarily the right way. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I hope those who are asking the questions, they are quite satisfied with the answers. Sir, one more question. How to associate with the risks involved in entrepreneurial idea? Sir, how to evaluate the risk associated with any new idea?
Okay. So risk assessment. Again, this is another area of expertise, right? What is the size of the enterprise you are thinking of? What is the investment? And how do you think to take it forward, right? So based on those parameters, one has to, assess the risk. And for example, if I am planning to set up one unit as an entrepreneur, the risk level will be different. If I want to set up 10 units parallelly, the risk level will be different. So based on the design of the entrepreneur, and based on the goal he or she has set, the assessment could be carried out. And risk assessment is not one-time job. It has to be, looked into, regularly. Am I doing right? Am I in the right direction? If I go this way, am I going to hit the target, or what is the risk? Am I going to lose money? Am I going to lose reputation? Am I going to lose people who are working with me? So it has to be a regular job. This assessment has to be a regular job based on the target set by the entrepreneur.
Thanks a lot, sir. Sir, the next question is whether an entrepreneur should willing accept that they have to change according to the current scenario.
I think I have answered this. Not necessarily he has to change. I repeat, it all depends what he or she really want, what's his passion, and is the change going to help to reach his passion? If the change is helping him or her to achieve the goal, he or she has to change. If he or she finds that the change might not help, he or she may have to stick to what he is doing and prove it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time to us. I hope all the participants have gained a lot from this session. Thank you once again, sir. I thank you once again on the behalf of ACIC IIT ISM Foundation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Now I'm ending the meeting. Thanks again, sir.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Camelia. And I would like to, be in touch with some of the interested participants today, even in future, that you can take one-on-one.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.